I consider myself really lucky. I just kind of happened to be born in the right time and place in many ways. And why should I get to have this lovely, joyful experience of getting to make art and getting to make art with lots of people? It's sort of become a mission of mine to try to offer that experience to more and more people, because it's such a big part of what being human is all about. It's expressing yourself. When we started talking with the folks at Canon and hearing what they were doing with AMLOS, it felt like a real fit.
Canon has always enabled creativity, and now with AMLOS, we're bringing a more natural collaboration experience to today's creative process, where people are working from anywhere. AMLOS uses just one camera in the room that can be controlled by hand gestures to send high-res video stream to remote users. Remote users can then choose what they want to see.
We got exploring like what we could do together, and we ended up with this really cool project. We did this experiment we called the writer's room to make an animated short film. A writer's room is usually a small number of writers, never more than, I don't know, 15. That's a relatively small number of people when you consider how many people there are in the world and how many ideas those people are having every day. So I invited a couple artists, friends of mine, Toph Masri and Edward Jesse, who just co-created a great animated show called Wolf Boy and the Everything Factory. And I said, can you guys open up your creative process and do it live? And they did. And so it was the three of us, and then we connected to folks in CES and anybody else who wanted to tune into these live streams. And people were just throwing out ideas.
Day one, we were brainstorming themes.
I think people bring their own personal experiences and stories into it.
We're going to start with the question, where does inspiration come from? And Matt, I'm going to throw it to the folks over in Vegas.
My inspiration really comes from talking to people wherever I go.
To the folks in Vegas, can see the board.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that.
We were talking a lot about collaboration and drawing inspiration from other people in the last session.
If there's a theme of collaboration and unity, there's something magical about that.
Brought up a really interesting word with unity. When we think about people working together, not merely the fact that they are all doing the same thing in the same way, but they're approaching the same thing in a variety of different ways.
We were brainstorming around collaboration, which was a theme that we sort of arrived at. We started trying to pull ideas for story, characters, settings out of that.
So I'm actually going to punch in on his illustration that he put on the board. His name is Michael, and he was a farmer. And he talked about collaboration, how a seed grows, but it needs the right amount of balance between rain and sun. I really love that idea. If we're talking about looking for a setting, like a forest.
We landed on the idea of things in the forest having a perspective on things that are happening to them. And we also talked a little bit about environmental concerns.
It was that one subject that really resonated with people.
I think we're all aware of planetary impact that we're having, right?
Yeah, so the next day, Toph did some doodles and sketches based on the story ideas we talked about.
As an illustrator, you just want this kind of environment. I get inspired all the time. But when you hear someone in tech or a teacher or someone who doesn't usually get in those rooms, they're really interesting stories, and that things that I wouldn't have thought of, and seeing things in those characters that I hadn't even thought of, and that made for a nice collision of ideas.
I like this character a lot, actually. I do like how the heavy thorns, but like the sweet, innocent face plays off. I think it's a nice balance between good and bad and what we all kind of carry day to day. I think it's a hero.
That zoom feature was my favorite thing. This thing.
The hand gesture?
Because it helps you utilize the room.
I'm going to pin up your awesome illustration. You guys got to see this. I'm going to share it in a moment. I'm going to put it up on the board and we'll zoom in.
Oh, Forrest, look at that. That's cool. If you were going to give this character a name, what would the name be?
Penelope the Punisher.
Penelope the Punisher.
Very cool. That's concept.
We had a late night session trying to pull all of the ideas that had come from the first 2 days into a loose story structure.
When a trio of villains enter an enchanted forest and start destroying the ancient trees, a cocky forest haunt thinks they can scare them away on their own But they can't until the wider community of forest beings collaborate together to scare away the villains and save their forest home.
Natalie Andrewson, who is a fantastic illustrator and was one of our character designers on Wolf Boy, she joined us to help.
These like huntsmen are kind of medieval inspired. They've got big hats.
The look on their faces, looks of amusement. I really like that.
And then they all get together. It could be a hurricane, it could be like a storm.
Or an energy particle which harnesses the spirit of the forest. And when they all form, they form almost like a human-like object that can overpower the villain.
This part is one of the best parts because you've just had a huge 3-day brainstorm session. You don't want to go to sleep. You want to go and put all this stuff together.
Hurry now. The world's at stake, but if you work together...
Like your baby is coming alive and the music starts going in, that's its own magic.
We have some incredible artists working on this, and we have input from such a diverse and wide-ranging group of people that threw their ideas into the pot. I expect we're gonna end up with a very cool short film.
With AMLOS, it's designed to allow for that kind of organic collaboration, creative collaboration that you only get when you can sort of freely bounce ideas around. So being able to like walk around, hey, look at this, hey, look at this.
I was able to just hold up a drawing and then I could just see it in really good, clear definition. And that kind of thing can often be challenging when you're on a normal video chat.
We had many different people from all over the world in one meeting, collaborating seamlessly.
Kind of makes me appreciate like the movie making process and how much time and effort they put into it.
If I will see this movie and I will know that I added maybe just a little bit to this creative process, it will warm my heart.
When there's a new technology that makes it more fluid for people to check out each other's ideas, build off one another, and have that kind of back and forth, get those creative juices flowing together, new technology that makes that easier will always change the creative process.